look the same, it may feel the same, but there will be such a morale booster. And people who are making $8 an hour will finally be making $15 an hour, with or without union help. We have the money. We are being lied to. I don't like it. I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm scared. I've lost so many guests because I'm too political. And I'll tell you right now, I had a lawyer tell me, I definitely can't be on your show because you tick off the Democrats and the Republicans. You tick off the unions and the CEOs. You don't right to do. If you ain't doing right, get ready to say goodnight, legally and peacefully. But let's get that down to what we are here for. Let's talk about courage. But before we do, I'm going to get to Chris first. Let me just say this. What I'm doing is courageous. Putting myself out on the line. So is Chris. So is Annette. We're doing something you don't see almost anywhere else. Now, you could say, I'm one dumb son of a gun. But at the same time, I believe the principles of the Constitution, of the Bill of Rights, and I believe in the words of Abraham Lincoln, that all men, okay, unfortunately back then it was all men have a right to honorable employment and a fair chance in the race of life. That's not the way it is in America, but Lincoln said that, which, by the way, Republican. So if I believe that, I also believe John F. Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you. Rather, ask what you can do for your country. What am I doing for my country? I'm speaking up. I'm speaking up. I'm being a long-winded big mouth. But I'm fighting for you. Make no mistake. I am fighting. I may not be in the boxing ring. I may not be an Army guy or a Marine or a Navy guy or what have you, but I'm fighting. And I ain't backing down anytime soon, my friends. I'm going to be as tough as I need to be. But I just want to throw something at you. I do have one other favor I want to ask all of you, and then I'm turning it over to Chris and Annette for a while. I want every single one of you to tell every person that you know on this planet, whether it's online or offline, strangers that you meet, I want you to get the word out about Humanity Matters. God bless you. Let's make Humanity Matters be a viral explosion. Instead of having a potential of 90,000 viewers, let's get Humanity Matters through the internet to get 9 million viewers. I'm asking you to help me to get famous. And I want you to call the networks, local and national. Tell them about Humanity Matters. Tell them what I do. Tell them how I do it. Let's get Pittsburghers, let's get Humanity Matters on the mainstream network. Let's get the corporations who have guts and courage to put me out there so that I can counteract those who would take from you. I'm asking you to do something very amazing. Make Humanity Matters one of the most popular shows, not only in Pittsburgh, but in America. So that means if you have friends on Facebook from Canada, let them know. Or, okay, Canada's not our country, of course, but let it be international. But let's say you have friends in California or Florida. Let's say maybe you have some friends in Kansas. Let everybody know what I'm doing. And go to my YouTube page. Look up YouTube and then Albert Torcaso. Tell every local network, tell Channel 11, Channel 4, everybody you know what I'm doing. Because what I'm fighting for is for you. Now, here's what you're going to say to yourself. What if he gets rich and famous? How does that help me? I want you to help me get famous. But you're saying to yourself, well, it's good for him. He becomes a millionaire. What the heck is that going to do for me? I guarantee you, if I get the national airwaves, I'm going to continue what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to work for you. And ultimately, I'm not going to stop until there's more money in your pocket. That's what I'm going to do for you. But I do have something that I desperately care about. I want to help the extreme poor that I know, like my friends and my family. I also want to be able to help people who have animals who can't afford to get them the operations they need and the treatments. Now, I know some people will say, well, you can't afford it, you shouldn't have them. It ain't that simple. But let me tell you something. What I will do with the money once you help me to get discovered, what I'm going to do with a good portion of it, I'm going to use it to help other people, and especially other animals. Yes, I'm going to help the homeless. That goes without saying. Yes, I'm going to donate it to organizations like the Pittsburgh Project that save lives, but I'm also going to help animals. So I'm asking you to spread the word about Humanity Matters. And I'm also asking you to do something very dangerous, and it's going to scare the living bejesus out of you. If you watch this show on a regular basis, if you think that I'm doing a good job, call every network, call everybody you know, call some agents, but also, I want you to be sitting here with me as a guest. And not only that, I want you to become a guest, but then I want you to be a temporary co-host. Now, if you're terrified of being on camera, you're exactly the person I want. Why? Because I guarantee you, you will not be nervous after you leave here, and I want to hear your story. So because of that, you need to call 412-231-2288. My mouth has been going for 75 years. Shut up, Albert. And now to Chris.
Yeah, I'd like to repeat this again to you.
Well, first, tell me about courage.
Shut up, Albert.
Shut what?
Shut up, Albert.
Shut what? Say that again?
Shut up, Albert.
You told me shut up.
Okay.
Say it again?
Shut up, Albert.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank Brandon Marshall, because what he did on Sunday was very encouraging. In case you haven't heard, he's the wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. He came out publicly at the press conference with the Miami Dolphins and said that he suffers from bipolar disorder, which is very encouraging. And so I'd like to thank Brandon Marshall for doing that, because we need to have people be educated on that issue.
Actually, it's not bipolar disorder, but
Borderline disability
disorder. So tell me, Chris, how are you courageous? Tell me your story.
I'm courageous in a lot of ways. I have several medical conditions that I have, and with because of my medical conditions, there's certain things I can do, some things I can't do, and I can't take certain pain medications, but I'm in pain a lot, but I still move forward. A lot of people that really know me know that I push myself, but I also tell people that it's just an obstacle, and what we do is we overcome those obstacles, and you do what you can to overcome those obstacles. Some people would say, oh, I have a bad day, and then whatever happened that day, they say, oh, I had a bad day. My theory is I don't have bad days. I have bad moments. I don't let one moment spoil my whole day.
So here's what I got to ask you. Where were you earlier today? Can you please tell the people the real full name of the place?
I left Whiteman.
No, it's called the Commons.
Whiteman Commons. I left there approximately about 2:33 this afternoon, and came right to the studio to prepare for the show.
Which is a hospital setting.
Which is a hospital setting,
you were
correct.
taking IVs and what have you, right?
Well, not IVs. There's giving me antibiotics.
Something.
Yeah, several antibiotics and other medications and also the physical therapy. So I was able to overcome my obstacles, to able to put my foot forward, and so I can continue to do what I need to do.
Well, we're glad you're back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
What you're saying to me is you just came out of the hospital, and you.
I went from Shadyside Hospital. I had 3 different admissions at Shadyside Hospital. Then the 3rd admission at Shadyside Hospital, I went to Whiteman Commons.
Okay, so, but let me get this straight. You came directly out of what would be considered a secondary hospital to this show.
Correct.
Why is it important for you to be here tonight?
To encourage people that whatever they're struggling through, always put your foot forward and always look at the gold at the end of the rainbow.
Okay, so you say you're in pain a lot. Okay, we're live. It's about 6:49 p.m., about 10 minutes left. Are you in pain right now?
Yes, I am.
Can you look at the camera?
Yes, I am in pain.
So But why is being here so important to you? I know what you said to encourage people, but explain a little bit more about it.
It's important to the viewers to hear this because some people will be struggling and they're stuck in their own situations. So I encourage them to, if I can do it, you can do it, and that's the bottom line.
Now, Chris, we're going to go to Annette, but before we do, when I first asked you a couple years ago to be on this show, weren't you a little nervous?
I was nervous at first, and I said to Al, do you think I can do it? He says, yeah, I could do it. And then I said, well, I'll do it for like maybe 3 months to see how it goes. Because my theory is, I don't say I can't. I always say I'll try. Because can't is not in my vocabulary. If people say, can you do something? I'll say, well, I'll try. But I'll say I can't do it.
It takes a lot of courage for you to be here. Let's face it. We are not stupid here at Humanity Matters. We know that both you and Annette have mental health. You're in mental health recovery. Most networks would never even think about having people in that, with mental health on the regular TV. But you know what? You're here for a reason, because you may have mental health issues, but you are Chris Weis. You are a human being. He is just as important as the President or the Queen of England.
We're all important.
Or Bruce Springsteen.
We're all important.
So, you know what, America? That's why Humanity Matters is so different. I put people on you wouldn't normally see on TV, and I guarantee it. If you think that I reinvented this show, I see that 10 minutes left. If you think that I reinvented the show today, I'm going to continue. And since we haven't really had any calls today, for whatever reason, we're probably going to have Courage Part 2 in later in August. We're supposed to be here live August the 19th. I don't know if Chris can make it. If he can, we'll have Courage Part 2. But you know what we're going to do for Courage Part 2? Something a little odd. Probably not talk about politics that much. We're probably going to have the majority of the time spent answering the calls from the viewers. But you know what? I guess Annette has a little old courage. So let's take it to Annette. Annette, back to Annette.
Well, I admire Al and Chris for their acts of courage. And it really takes guts to do what they do. And I remember that I had to have courage when I was to appear for the first time on the show. And then once I was on the show, it was like second nature. And it wasn't difficult anymore. And I admire how Al takes on what he does every month. It takes a lot of courage to take on the people that he does. And we need someone like him because people aren't aware of a lot of things, so they don't know how to act upon what they can't know until they're informed. And that's what we're here for.
Well, let me ask you that. I tell people to call the White House, which is pretty shocking when you think about it. And I tell them to call Congress. Do you really think that if Americans start doing that, that there will be a change? Or do you think I'm full of hot water?
Well, it can only help.
Well, are you aware of the fact that when I sign
Well, people
online...
have to do it.
Well, here's the thing. I sign online petitions.
Right?
And I didn't really think they did as much as they do. But because of an online petition, I've told this story a few times, but this is the truth. There is what they call, not genetic engineering, but, I can't remember. But they are doing embryo research and not cloning, but whatever. There's a kind of research.
Stem cell.
Yeah, stem cell. That's what it was. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Stem cell research. And President Bush would not allow it. But there was a bipartisan vote twice by the Republicans and the Democrats that was not going to happen. They weren't going to bring it to the floor. And we started signing petitions on takeaction.com. And they ended up bringing it to the floor, and it passed both times, but President Bush vetoed it both times. And that was the first time and second time he ever used a veto. However, when President Obama came into office, because it had passed both times. He made it as an executive order. No, my point is telling you, the audience, is yes, signing petitions do work. We will change this country for better, the better. We will be starting to have $1 million or more by the time we retire, if you do what I ask. Now remember,
Well,
tomorrow,
if you call Congress, that really
right,
helps a
but
lot.
tomorrow, everybody's gonna call Congress tomorrow, and they're gonna ask that question. Why, if we don't have any money, did GE make $101 billion and get $1 billion for free?
That's a
Why
good
is
question.
that? I mean, I don't understand that. America, I know we're running out of time, but I just don't understand.
Well,
How
that's
can
a
it
very
be-
good question.
How can it be that these companies who paid nothing are getting free money?
Well, they're not better than us.
But I mean,
They're
but
not
wait a
better
minute,
than you.
But wait a minute, this is what's confusing to me. Carl pays his taxes, I pay it, Chris pays it, you pay it, Zach is going to be paying it. Working for a living, plus paying taxes, plus getting tax increases eventually. And we all pay our taxes, they don't pay their taxes. What? That's almost like a Eddie Murphy kind of Chris Rock. What you talking about? Not what you talking about, but or something. I mean, a comedian could really work on that. But I mean, I can't believe it. Now, America, if you really want change, and I don't mean the kind you put in your pocket, if you really want to see what I'm talking about, and having a future for your grandchildren, not just your children, but your grandchildren and yourself, you need to call 1-202-224-3121. That's right, 1-202-224-3121.
It's a start.
Chris wants you to call a comment line. What one?
Yeah, it's the White House comment line.
The what?
The White House comment
The
line.
White House.
Yeah, the White House. You can talk
Speak
to
up and tell
you
America,
talk to a
don't tell me.
live person. You call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You talk to a live person. It's 202-456-1111.
You slow that baby down.
202-456-1111.
That's right. Call the White House.
And tell them that Albert Talbot, that Humane Matters told you to call.
Albert Torcaso, Chris Weis, and Annette Mendel told you to call. Now, but before we go, I'll tell you what. Remember how I asked you to call Congress tomorrow and ask them why GE got $1 billion? I want you to also call the White House comment line. Ask them all. And also start calling the networks and tell them to put us on TV. That's right, everybody. So we're getting ready to go. Now remember, we're going to do a part 2 with courage. But you know what? We all remember something. Remember that you.
And
Humanity
really
really
does
does matter.
You gotta feed the congressman, baby. You got to feed him every day. You gotta feed the congressman, baby. You got to feed him every day. All morning, noon, and night time. You gotta kiss his ass in every way. Oh, yes, you do. Pay his kids way to law school, buy his old lady a fancy car. Pay his kids way to law school, buy his old lady a fancy car. Supply him a little boy blue and expensive Cuban cigars. You gotta feed your congressman, baby. You gotta feed him every time you get the chance. You gotta wine him and dine